voices are
Good afternoon, morning. I never really know what to say, but hello, everybody, and welcome to the Healthy Hair Chat with your girls from the Healthy Hair Studio. I am Takara Nicole.
I'm
Oh,
Angel.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I wasn't sure if you heard me.
Go ahead, Angel.
Oh,
Angel.
I'm Cara Kalor.
And I'm Angel, touched by Angel.
Sorry, y'all.
Listen, hey y'all. So listen, welcome to the Healthy Hair Chat. We are here every first Monday of the month, 12 noon, and just coming to give you guys some healthy hair tips, as well as sometimes throughout the month. You guys know we'll come and drop some knowledge. Cara is what is yours? Every last Tuesday?
Last Tuesday in the month. Yep.
Yep, every last Tuesday of the month, you can see Cara. She is giving out her knowledge, and you guys know I'll do some pop-up lives here and there just to kind of show you guys some knowledge from the trichology point of view. But today we're excited about our topic. Last month, you guys know it was Mother's Day. It was all about the ladies. It was all about the women. And so today it's June. We know it is the month is Father's Day this month. And so today is all about the fathers, all about the men. And so we say to y'all, Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy
So, all right, so we're going to get started. We're going to just talk about some things that are catered more towards the man. So, you guys, if you are watching, ladies, tag your men in the live, grab this knowledge so that you can let them know later. These are some things I learned today that are going to help you in your grooming experience. All right. So, we're going to talk about first, really quickly, about like why is it important? Why does it matter? Why is grooming important? All right. So, we know first and foremost, grooming is important because first impressions matter. So however somebody looks at you, how they see you, it matters. It speaks. However, if you're coming and your lineup is not right, if your hair is not brushed, if it's not combed, if it's not clean,
Yes.
if your beard is not together, you want to make sure that you're always presenting yourself the best way possible to other people, as well as we also want to make sure that we feel good about ourselves. We look better, we feel better. Same thing as it pertains to women. Like when we go out, our appearance, it makes a difference. And so when you are well groomed, it is something about the confidence that
Yes.
we feel by being groomed properly, right? It boosts your self-esteem, it boosts your confidence. If you came out and everything looked rugged, like I know now, I'll say this: some of you men, y'all are definitely on it more than some of us women, because some of you men, you're like, I'm getting my hair cut every week. You're not gonna catch me off guard. You know what it's like to groom, while others don't always, take it serious. But however, it boosts your self-esteem and your confidence. All right. It shows that you have self-respect, and it helps how other people will perceive you. All right. So that's first things first about why is grooming important. So I want to talk about something, and the ladies are going to help me jump in today. So shampoo and conditioner. I want to start there because a lot of times I find that men are using whatever they can find. Normally it's like that 2-in-1 kind of thing. The same thing you wash your body with is the same thing that you're using on your hair. And so I want you guys to know that it's just as important what we use, what you guys use, as it is for women as it pertains to shampooing and conditioning your hair. Angel, can you help me out a little bit with that as far as like shampoo and conditioning?
Absolutely. So just like shampoo, just like soap is to wash as lotion is to condition. So that's my formula for shampoo and conditioning. You have to shampoo to get all the gunk and residue and buildup and things of that nature that you've acquired with product and just life. Some of you men have oily jobs. You go to work and you come home oily. You got things of, you're out in nature or whatever the case is that you're doing. Even if you have an office job, your body naturally produces oils. And so you need to shampoo and get that oil out and replenish it with a conditioner. And also, just one myth that a lot of men who have sat in my chair, I've heard multiple men say the same thing. Oh, well, I thought that, if I just leave the oil in it, or if I just don't wash it for X amount of time, it's going to grow more. And that is a myth. You need to wash your hair. First off, it stinks if you don't. And I know every man, but there are some shops where you go in and it smells like a head. And it's because of those oils and things of that nature. Old grease is not going to grow your hair. Your hair is going to grow as long as you're living. As long as you're living and have blood pumping through your body, the hair is going to grow. Now, at what rate it grows does depend on your eating and your water intake, your vitamin intake, your stress levels, things like that. But wash your hair.
Yes.
Condition your hair. And use a product that's gonna do, if you wearing a fade or something, you want some brush waves or whatever the case is, use a product that's going to be fitting to your hairstyle.
And I think that's good. That's another good point too. And Car, you can probably speak to this, like even with like hair textures, right? So it just like with women, we have to pay attention to whatever our hair type is. And that's how we choose our shampoos and conditioners. Men, it's the same way. And so a lot of you are like, why is my hair so dry? Why is it so brittle? Like Angel said, you want to get the waves. However, the shampoos and your conditioners that you're using are drying out your hair. And so, Cara, can you help them out about like just with like different textures and like just understanding the shampoo and conditioners they should actually use?
Yeah, definitely. I think every man, and which will be a good investment, because if they invest in getting just a clarifying shampoo, they will use that to the end of time, because you don't need a lot of it. So that will be your first initial wash, is just to pull all that debris. A lot of times guys wear hats a lot, or they may wear some kind of helmet or something while they're at work. So just to have that clarifying shampoo, just to try to get all that gunk up out of their hair, and then follow up with a moisturizing shampoo. A lot of times they say, well, I just run to the hair store and just grab something. If that is the case, you want to make sure that it says moisturizing. And then a lot of times the brands that they have, they are not always the best, because sometimes depending on the texture of that person, you may need to ask a stylist. A lot of times barbers do not get in depth when they start talking about the shampoos and stuff. They're just there to just maintain the hair, make it look nice. And a lot of times it's not that deep in terms of that appointment that you have with your barber. But if you do have a stylist, or you just need that type of guidance, I would reach out to a stylist and say, hey, what shampoo do you think will work for my hair texture? And then go from there in terms of picking out a shampoo that is very moisturizing for your hair, and then following up with a conditioner that could be either lightweight, or it can be very concentrated, depending on how thick your hair is and in the strands. So that's something that I feel like, and we can work together. I mean, you can always have a stylist that's in your back pocket, if you have your barber, you know what I mean? And just say, hey, my barber does a good job cutting me, he had me looking good. But as far as the grooming process, that's something that you may need to reach out to a stylist. And then, not taking away from the barbers, they have a knowledge too, but maybe it's not a conversation that's even brought up in the chair. It's kind of like, I'm just here to get my hair cut and I'm gone, So that's a conversation that you might have to ask your barber. Say, hey man, what shampoo you think I should use for my hair? Because it's flaky, it's dry. What I'm saying? I'm having a lot of issues in terms of, just keeping it, the way I wanted to keep it. So it's a conversation to be addressed, and just brought up. And then if they don't have the knowledge, then, definitely reach out to a stylist and we'll have that information for you.
Absolutely. And barbers too. If there are any barbers on the line, like we do work with you guys. Listen, we are partners in this thing. So if there's barbers and you're seeing certain things in your chair that you don't quite understand, link up with the stylist and let us help, guide you just so that your client is getting the most of whatever it is that they need. Because again, you may not be as knowledgeable about what it is. So if you are a barber and you're on here and you're saying, listen, I don't know what I should suggest to my clients. Hey, listen, I need help. So that's definitely one that you can do. Good afternoon. Thank you for watching. Let's also talk about really quickly. So shampoo, just to give you guys background, right? So shampoo cleanses and removes buildup. Okay, guys. So the reason why you're shampooing your hair is to remove the buildup. The reason why you're going to condition is so that it restores moisture that you kind of strip from shampooing your hair. So that's why shampooing and conditioning is very important. So if you are using like a 2-in-1, that you're using something that's kind of just cleansing your body, it's stripping your body, a lot of times it's not going to give you the moisture that you need. And so make sure that if you shampoo your hair, you also follow up with a conditioner. Using the right products for your hair type can prevent dryness and promote just healthy hair growth. All right. So just remember that at any moment, if you guys have any questions, please reach out. Good afternoon, Derek. We didn't miss your comment earlier. And so that's important. We talked about understanding the different types of hair types. That is key. And making sure that you are shampoo and conditioning on a regular basis.
Yes.
Car, can you talk to our lock people? I know now there are a lot of guys that are locked. There may be women now that you're locking your son's hair, your young guys hair. Let's talk about, we're going to answer this question really quickly, Car, and then we come back. How do you deal with dry scalp? So how do you deal with dry scalp? So dry scalp is kind of twofold, and I'll speak kind of from the trichology point of view, is really understanding what is dry scalp. And sometimes we confuse the two between like a dandruff and dry scalp. So dandruff is a form of dry scalp. However, it's more so on the fungal kind of side. Is dandruff. Dry scalp, however, it just needs moisture. So if your scalp is really dry, you got to moisturize. You got to use shampoos and conditioners that have moisturizing agents in them that are very concentrated. A lot of times, some of these shampoos and things that are in the store, they're drying you out. So according to your hair type, if you have a very curly or coily hair type, you want to use more of a moisturizing shampoo. You might even decide to use an oil as well on your scalp, not a grease, but using a very light oil to help moisturize your scalp. And of course, we're always going to talk about your diet because we don't talk about it enough. Making sure that you're drinking your water, making sure that you're eating healthy, making sure that you're getting the proper nutrients that you need as well. And so those are just a couple things.
And also steaming too. It's not something that you have to do, repetitively, but it is good. I mean, you can also steam in the shower, you know what I mean? And just making sure, but that all goes back to, the hygiene part. A lot of times men don't really get into washing their hair and stuff in the shower. It's more the body, you know what I mean? So also just making sure that you running that shampoo through that scalp, and allowing that steam while you're in the shower. Because I do, and this is a topic too, a little off topic, but I know we used to, we'll have conversations when I used to work in the barbershop, and we'll joke about how women, we love really hot showers.
Yes.
Versus men don't typically like a really hot shower sometimes. So they may be losing that steaming process because they are taking baths in, somewhat of a cooler temperature than we would, you know what I'm saying? So that is something that they can get that steam in. And then if they don't particularly want to do that, they can always go to a salon and they can steam your hair. They can put you in there and loosen up that scalp. Sometimes it's a tight scalp. You just need that scalp to be loosened up and let the steam kind of lubricate that scalp some.
All right, so we have go ahead.
Real quick to finalize that situation. You mentioned oils. Men don't be afraid to, or don't shy away from oil treatments as well. There's different ways to do them, and some oil treatments you put on before your shampoo. You put it on, let your hair absorb the oils, and then you wash it off with your clarifying shampoo, and then you go back with your moisturizing shampoo. But don't, just because you may have a little bit of hair or whatever the case is, don't stay away from oil treatments. Oil treatments are good for men as well.
Yes. Good. What are good brands that don't dry out your hair? So definitely I'm going to recommend trying to stick as close as possible to professional brands. A
Mhm.
lot of the store brands are just tough because a lot of times those actually have a lot of preservatives in them that in water that can kind of dry out the hair versus using more professional brands. So my go-tos are always going to be I like Influence.
Mhm.
I like
I like Care too.
Hair
For
Care
me,
is a good
it's very
one.
moisturizing.
It
Mhm.
Like
is. Mazzani is not bad. Go ahead.
Design Essentials is really
Design
good.
Essentials. They're moisturizing.
Mhm.
What's the one? What's the one? The honey.
Honey
Honey
and
cream. Is it a
yes,
honey
honey.
cream? Mhm.
Yes, the honey cream and Design Essentials is a good one. I also carry a line as well
Yeah.
that works really, really well. It's a good moisturizing agent. It's also organic and hyperallergenic. So those men that have that deal with eczema, if you
Mhm.
deal with scalp issues and scalp conditions, my product line will be great for you
Mhm.
because it doesn't have a lot in it, and it's going to actually give you what you need without having to be concerned about having any type of reaction to the product. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So those are just a couple. Let's go to hello, Bishop Marcia. How are you? Um, he also said he said I didn't realize how much food impacted dry scalp, and absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I'll speak to that really quickly. A lot of people don't realize how much your diet plays a huge role in your hair. Hair growth, healthy hair, it starts in the gut. And so if
Mhm.
you're not eating healthy, if you're not eating right, if you're not getting the proper nutrients that you need, your hair is not going to grow. And so that's why I did a live on this on Friday. You guys can go back and watch the full live. But I'll touch this a little bit. I just talked about how whatever you eat, your body is always going to take care of the major organs first. And so
Mhm.
if you're not eating enough nutrients to provide for the rest of it, it's always going to take care of the organs, and the hair is always going to be last, which
Mhm.
is why a lot of times hair loss is one of the number one side effects to almost everything you're going to see. Every type of medication out there is going to 10 times out of 10 it's going to say hair loss. And it's not because the medication itself is hair loss. It's a lot of times it's because of what that medication will do to your body. And so
Right.
if you think
Mhm.
about someone that's on chemo, it's what that chemo does to the person's body that is what allows them to have so many side effects throughout their body. So that's why what you eat is extremely important, especially for those of you that might have like autoimmune issues,
Yeah.
diseases. Very, very, very important because that creates a lot of inflammation in your body. So if you're
Mhm.
eating foods that are creating inflammation
It's gonna
and then
make
you
it.
already have inflammation, you are
Mhm.
double whammy in your body.
Yes, you
And
are.
so you're
Mhm.
not going to have healthy hair. Your skin's not going to look well. So those are just a couple things. But yes, your um, food in your diet plays a huge
Mhm.
role in healthy hair. All right.
And then something else I want to talk about too. Most people get that confused too with time span, like in terms of the age. They
Yes.
may feel because especially with men, women we become a little bit more conscious, but we lack it too. But men, they kind of vibe off of I was youthful, I was young, I never had this issue before. They don't have to pay so much attention to what they're putting into their body, as well as supplements that they may need to put in there because they're not eating the proper stuff, or
Absolutely.
they are just not aware of what they are eating and if it's harmful to them, so just supplementing, and making sure that you're getting those vitamins in where you are deficient because you're not eating right and you're not putting the right things in your body so that you can get the benefits of having a healthy nutrition, you know what I mean, because a lot of men they not doing it, they just not gonna do it.
Listen, but while we here, we might as well stay here, and it was lower down, but I'll just say it right now because a lot of times, what you just said, men don't eat right. So a lot of
Mhm.
times, men eat wrong and then go work out. But
Yeah.
they don't realize how important, your diet is to it. And so although you're working out and but the eating aspect of it, it will also cause you to be deficient in other places. So it's so
Mhm.
important, man. You just can't eat and then work out. You got to make sure that you're eating well at the same time. It is so important. Even like a lot of times doing those supplements. A lot of times the creatines and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff, you have to be very careful because some of those have lasting effects. Some of those might be the reason why you got hair loss.
Mhm.
A lot of times we don't realize how much your diet plays a role in your hair growth. And so some of you are experiencing hair loss. You got this little patch in the top of your head, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh my God, what's happening? Now, there are some things as far as, because I'll say this, because men typically can drop weight fast, right? There is a thing where losing weight fast can affect, and you're trying to figure out why your hair is not growing. But a lot of times, losing weight fast puts a lot of stress on your body.
Yep.
So stress is one of the biggest culprits to hair loss. So we always talk about women in like stress-induced alopecia and
Mhm.
stress alopecia. But men, let me tell you,
Yes, they
you
do.
can have alopecia too.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Women, alopecia is not just for women. And
Mhm.
I'm honest, men probably suffer from hair loss
More.
way more than what women do. And a lot of
Mhm.
times it has everything to do with our supplements, how we're eating, because how we're eating affects our hormones, right? And our hormones then affect our hair. So, men, if you're like, man, I'm starting to see some thinning in my hair, go see a trichologist, go get some help. But a lot of times you have to realize that a lot of what you're seeing, a lot of times it has a lot to do with your eating, your dieting, your supplements, what you're taking in. All you're doing is living off of a bunch of drinking protein shakes all day,
Mhm.
and you're not
And
eating.
stress load too.
Come on, your stress low. Stress plays a huge role. Stress on the body, inflammation. So those of you men, listen, you got to be well. This is part of what we're talking about today. We got some other stuff we're about to dive into, but we just kind of pause right here because we love you. We're concerned about you, and you do have stressful jobs. Most of you are carrying a lot on your shoulders. So you got to make sure that you're taking care of your body. It goes beyond just the facts of like, your hair and all that kind of stuff. But we also need you to take care of your bodies. Eat right. Okay. Eat right as much as possible. Get your fruits and your veggies in. But be very, very careful. I like I did in the live. And if you need the link, just inbox me. I'll send it to you. But be very careful about taking supplements and not being under a doctor's supervision, because your doctor needs to be able to keep up with whatever you're putting in your body. So just be very mindful and be very careful of what supplements you're taking. And if you're not seeing a doctor, because
Mhm.
they need to be able to check your level. Sometimes you're taking things that you don't need to take. Sometimes you're doubling up. Sometimes one thing you're taking will actually do the same thing as something else you're taking. And so you're trying to figure out, why isn't my body functioning the way that it needs to? Why, is something off in my body? Why, am I jittering? I'm having trouble sleeping. It's because sometimes some of the supplements you're taking are actually doing the same thing. So you're almost overdosing. And so we talk about medications overdosing, but I'm going to tell you that you can also overdose as it pertains to supplements as well. So
Mhm.
be very, very careful. You go inside them stores and they say, hey, buy this. You're going to need this. However, they're not a doctor. So make sure you go back to your doctor. Make sure you do your own research, because you might be taking this and it's canceling out this. So you're taking this and it's having, those type of side effects. So that's just what I want to, let you guys know, is just to be very careful of taking supplements and what you're taking into your body to make sure that you're not taking on more than what you need. All right. Perfect. All right. So okay, we're gonna get Derek. I know you have something about beards. We got a whole segment we're about to talk about
Mhm.
beards today. So give me 1 second. I'm coming to your beard. We're gonna stay on here. Cara, talk to us really quickly about locks. What we need to know
Okay.
about locks and all of that really quickly, and then we're gonna dive into beard care.
Oh yeah, so definitely with your locks, you want to make sure that you are getting your hair shampooed. I would say you don't go past a month without getting that hair shampooed, and you can also use a lightweight oil to put in the locks. I think that's a big thing that we miss out on. Sometimes I'll shampoo the locks and it's very, very dry. And so the
Okay.
first thing I'm saying, like, did you put oil? Oh yeah, I put oil on my scalp. But I'm like, did you put oil on the lock? Like, you need to put something on the lock, because the
Yeah.
lock, for one, is dead hair and it's continuing to be impact. Every time you have that retwist, it is once again reinforcing old hair. So you have to make sure that you're treating that old hair so that it doesn't get brittle and doesn't break off. Of course, you have your 7 year rule. Most people, I say, after 7 years, the lock has already been through all the stages, and you would have that bulb that's on the end that starts to unravel. At that time, you can choose to go in crochet it, or you can just get a trim. So that's something that you have to address. But for me, I do recommend getting your hair shampooed no more than 3 weeks out. A retwist every 4 to 6 weeks, interlocking every 8 to 12 weeks. So that's up to you in terms of the density of your hair. Because if your hair is thin or if it's fine, I wouldn't interlock as often because of the weight of the lock. Because you don't want to start to cause the thinning of the scalp. But if you do have a very coarse hair, very strong hair, you can interlock a little more, you can retwist a little more. Just make sure that whoever's retwisting your hair, that they do not twist it tightly, because it will cause it to thin, it will cause it to break. You do want to twist it, because I know sometimes they'll twist it until it curls up, and that's entirely too tight. When you're doing locks, you want to make sure that you do your retwist, that it's not painful when you're doing your styles, your barrel twist, your fishtail, all the different styles that we do when we doing locks. Don't allow your stylist to pull it to where it's so uncomfortable. Just let them know, hey, that's a little tight for me. I know it looks neat, I know it looks nice, but at the same time, you want to make sure that the lock style is it's like a longevity journey. So a lot of times you want to keep your locks for a long period of time. So you want to make sure you don't stress them out, and you don't abuse them. And then also with the rubber bands, when you're tying the rubber bands, you're doing a 2-strand twist, and you're taking that band and you're wrapping, it will cause sometimes an indentation inside of that lock. I think there's something going on. Okay, inside of that lock, it will have like an indentation, or it could even weaken your ends. So just be careful with that. Try not to go too many times with that, but definitely moisturizing, using a very moisturizing shampoo. Also, if you want to refresh your scalp, and it's also good to use anesthetic to cleanse your scalp. I like to use what do I use? Like a sensitive formula. I always use a sensitive one to cleanse the lock. Some people use apple cider vinegar. There's different ways to actually get all that debris up out of your scalp, and then go in with your moisturizing shampoo, and then put in a very lightweight leave-in. Like I use a leave-in with my locks. It's always been very successful. I've been doing locks probably longer than I've ever been doing hair, just not intentionally. And I've always had the locks to be very healthy, very uniformed, and and the growth is always good.
That's good. All right, so that's just a couple tips. If you guys have questions, um, feel free to ask your questions in the chat. We've already been able to answer a couple of you guys today. I'm grateful that you guys are engaging and talking back, because we don't normally get to have this many guys on the line. So thank you guys for joining us today. Today is all about you. And we just want to make sure that we're educating you guys, because I know a lot of times you feel left out and you guys are just left in the wind, and you're like, I don't know what to do. However, I know that grooming is important, and you want to make sure that you're doing the best that you can. And for those ladies that have young guys, young men, you want to make
Young
sure
men.
that you are, using the best thing on them as well. So this is really good. So let's talk about beards a little bit, because we know beards are in now.
Yes,
A
they
lot of
are.
those guys, you got your beards going on. They look good. However, we want to help you out just a little bit more. And so first, let's talk about why it's important, right? So hygiene first. Let's talk about the beards trap sweat, food, and bacteria, and environmental dirt. All right. So your day to day, we're not even talking about if you go get down and dirty somewhere, if you go in, we're just talking about your day to day life. Has the ability to trap sweat and food and bacteria and environmental things into your beard. So without regular washing, it can smell, lead to breakouts and infections. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. If you are not washing or shampooing rather your beard on a regular basis, it can cause it to smell, it can lead to breakouts, and it can cause infections. All right.
Yeah.
So go ahead. It's super important. You're gonna say something? Or
Oh no, I was agreeing
Okay,
with you
yeah.
in terms of
So it's super
the
important.
ingrown hairs and everything that goes up under, the beard. It's not for just aesthetics.
Yes, so definitely it's very important. So we don't want you to shame. We want you to look good. However, we want to make sure that we're cleansing out all of that bacteria that's in the beard. All right. It prevents itch and dandruff, right? So dirty beards dry out underneath, causing flakes and itching. So washing keeps the skin clear and hydrated. All right, Derek said, he said, I definitely wash mine. It may be too much, but I'm very OCD about my hygiene. Thank
Yes.
you, Derek. I'm so glad that you are a man that is OCD about his hygiene.
Yes.
I'm praying that most of you guys are, and if you're not, that you become a little OCD. Also, it boosts beard growth. So a clean beard promotes a better blood circulation and
Yes.
unclogs the pores. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So I know a lot of times people may think that they may be washing it too much or whatever. If I wash it too much, what is that going to look like? But being able to have a clean beard, it does. Are we talking about skin? Right now in this moment, we're talking about beards. So
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about beards right now. Um, but of course, your beard is everything is all a part. So this is why this aspect of it is super important because it's still a part of your face. All right.
Now, I mean, if you want to start to grow your beard, that is something that you want to make sure that you concentrate on before you start the process. Is making sure that you have a good hygiene process for your skin, because sometimes you may not even be a candidate for to grow a beard. You may have issues where you have inflammation in your skin, and you call, and it may have a lot of ingrown hairs or just irritation to you. So that's something that you have to start off. Initially, sometimes it's not a big deal, but then sometimes if you really want that beard and you have a poor skin regimen and you don't cleanse properly, you can experience a lot of breakouts and a lot of bumps and things of that nature because that skin hasn't been properly cleansed.
Okay, perfect. So again, blood circulation unclogs for dirty hair. Oh, Angel.
I can't hear you.
Um, Angel, you have something? Blood circulation unclogs for dirty hair. All right. So it has so much ingrowns, he has to pick them out of his skin. So sometimes with the ingrowns, now I'm not a barber, but I think sometimes too with the ingrowns, they can have a lot to do with like if they're shaving, however they're shaving. With sometimes it's not even the fact of how or which way that they shave. Sometimes it's the fact of how curly their beard might be. So a lot of times ingrown has a lot to do with the curly hair, and the curly hair gets trapped underneath. So they just have to be careful about how they shave. So that's super important. So maybe a shaving thing where he needs to go see was the esthetician. He could talk it over with his barber. I don't know if he's doing it himself. But a lot of times I know those ingrowns have a lot to do with shaving and how you shave, what you use, how low you're going. Go ahead.
And how clean the actual shaver is, because a
Okay.
lot of times they don't properly clean them, and so there's bacteria that's trapped inside of the blade, and it can cause you to have that irritation against your skin. So it's definitely you may have to check out the blade and then make sure that it's being cleaned after every shave. And sometimes that's not something that they just shave go, and then that bacteria is growing inside of there. So when that blade meets that skin again, it's just depositing in bacteria, which can cause you to have that irritation that you experience. And then the skin just makes very, very irritated, just very inflamed.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. So that's just another thing. And that's the same thing like with haircuts, like even my son has very, very, very curly hair. So he just has to be careful, when he's going, like, I'm just like, hey, we can't go that low. Because a lot of times when he goes low is when a lot of time he kind of like bumps up. But I also noticed too that my son has a really, really, really curly hair. So just being careful and mindful of that. Also, don't forget about exfoliating. Angel says, I don't know what is going on with Angel. She's going to be back next month because we're going to figure it out, but it's not giving us what we needed to give. However, Angel, she's definitely, we're going to ask Angel to come and do a full class because this is what Angel knows and knows how to do and talk about. However, she did tell us do not forget about exfoliating as well. So making sure that you exfoliate, that's going to help to clean out and unclog as well. All right. Washing keeps the skin clean and hydrated. Exfoliating your skin so that the layer of skin is removed. All right. Soften, it also softens and styles easier. So when you're shampooing with the correct product, shampooing and conditioning your beard with the correct products, it helps to soften and make styling easier. Clean beards absorb oils and balms more effectively. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Clean beards absorb oils and balms more effectively. Angel made this point earlier, and when she was talking about even like with just shampoo, and it's the same thing. You can't just pile grease and oil on top of, it's not going to absorb. So sometimes like you're putting grease and oil on top of, you're going to have to cleanse first in order for it to do what you need it to do. So sometimes with your beards, you're not shampooing and conditioning properly. So it's not going to absorb because it's already clogged up. So you're going to have to go back. So what we need you to know is that there's a difference between like the hair that hangs, right? You know, but and then the actual skin, the hair that is attached, or your scalp, so to speak, I want to say, or what is attached to your scalp. So a lot of times, even with your hair, what you kind of put on the ends of your hair versus what you're putting on your scalp are going to be two totally different things. It's going to feel differently. The absorption is going to be different. All right. So oils and balms, they are more effective when we have a clean beard. All right. What else? Makes brushing and shaping and styling smoother and more polished. And so for those of you that have beards, you probably can attest to this, that when when your beard is clear, whenever you're putting your balm on there, you know, it makes it pop better. It has a better shine because my beard is properly cleansed. All right. This is a big one. So beard wash is specifically formulated to cleanse without stripping the natural oils, unlike regular shampoo. So you want to make sure that you are using a shampoo that is formulated for beards. Just don't grab anything and start shampooing your beard, because some of the shampoos, like we talked about, same thing with your hair, some things can be overly stripping. So you could be taking out the oils and now your beard is all dry and it's brittle and it just doesn't have that shine that you're looking for. So make sure that you're using the correct shampoo for your beard when you're shampooing. All right. Anything else? You guys, anything for that, Car?
No, I was pretty much saying the same thing in terms of also just using a comb or brush pick. You know, you can just comb through your beard, making sure that whatever you're putting on your beard is actually getting on all the strands. And then the brushing also causes to have, you know, circulation and, you know, just detangling it. So those are just some things that, other than just washing it and letting it go, you can actually brush your beard, you can actually comb through it, and so that you can distribute those oils that you're putting on it.
Awesome. So beard conditioner, it often it softens the beard, right? So a lot of times, again, like I said, the shampoo is going to do the stripping, so we got to make sure that we restore it. So even though the beard wash is not going to totally take all the oils out, however, it is going to strip some of what was on there. So you got to make sure that you replenish it and follow up with a beard moisturizer. Beard oil, it helps to lock in moisture, add shine, and prevent itchiness and to prevent itchiness and flakes. Okay, Derek said, now are there products specifically for Black men?
I would, well, I guess when you get into the oils sometimes,
Yeah,
because we
but
do get
shampoos
into
and
the,
conditioners,
but
I
yeah,
don't think I've seen any
yeah.
that are specifically for Black men.
Now you have some that are just more natural based, when like a
Yeah.
lot of the products are, you know, pretty much made of some type of they have more jojoba oil, shea butters, what is it called, like palmetto, saw palmetto or
Um,
nettle. They're more organically made. You know what I'm saying?
Angel said
So
there are. Angel said there
yeah,
are some that are more that are specifically formulated. So
yeah.
Angel's going to get those for you. She's going to let you know. And Angel, if you know some, can you drop them in the chat for people that are watching as well? She said Rick Ross caters his line more for the coarseness. So Rick Ross has a
Mhm.
line as well. And I would too go to barbershops, see guys that have beards.
Ask.
I got a friend, he's a barber. I'm gonna ask him too and try to gather some stuff. If you're looking for some, reach out to the Healthy Hair Studio and we'll make sure that you guys get all the information that you need. We're not going to leave you hanging. So for what we don't know, we're going to figure it out.
Yes.
But there is also yes, so but there is the Angel did give to Talia, why how do you say that? Talia,
Talia Wahili.
yeah, Talia
Mhm.
Wahili also has a line that caters as well. She
Mhm.
said, they said, me trying to figure out how Trey Parchment gets to keep his beard in the AF. Right. But yeah, so those are just some lines. But again, I know, and I know we talked about that earlier, just the differences of the hair. So that was a good
Mhm.
point, Derek. Thank you for that question. Are there some specifically? Because a lot of times our beards are a lot more coarser, the curlier of the hair. So
Mhm.
sometimes even your hair and your beard may take a little bit more than some of the other hair types. All right. So if you have a more coarser hair type, your hair may need more oil, it may need more moisture than somebody that has a more finer textured, more straight type of hair texture. And the reason why is because of the fact straight hair has the ability to be moisturized a lot easier. However, coarser hair, because the hair is so coily and so curly, a lot of times take it can be a little bit harder for it to be moisturized.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Oh, getting something. Perfect. So they listen, we spreading information out here. Trying to figure out these
We gotta
things.
get them right. The sponsor said, "Come
Right. I'm
out."
trying to tell you, I'm here for it. And then we have beard balms. So there's a difference between beard balms and beard oils. They're two totally different
Mhm.
things. Beard oils and beard balms are different, all right? And they have their proper place. So beard balms are typically used for styling and sealing hydration, all right? The oil is going to lock it in, right? The balm is going to help to seal it. So they have
Mhm.
two different things. So a lot of times you just might use a balm, but you're not using an oil. All
Mhm.
right. So make sure that you're using a combination of the two. So again, a beard oil is going to lock in moisture, right? Add shine, prevent that itchiness. And then the beard balm is going to assist with your styling
Mhm.
and hydration,
Yeah.
right? So it's two different things. So recommendations, depending upon your job, at least 2 to 3 times a week at a
Mhm.
minimum.
At the minimum, yeah.
Right. Now, if your job and you're in your job and you're sweating a lot, if your
They,
job is in the environments, you're working outside, whatever case may be, you're inside of a warehouse, you want to make sure you wash your beard every day.
every day, yeah.
Listen, every day, your hair and your beard every day.
Mhm.
But make sure you're using something moisturizing so that you do not dry it out. Use lukewarm water on your beard. Do not use hot water. Okay.
Mhm.
Why? Hot water is going to do a lot of stripping. And because
Yeah.
we want to maintain
Black.
that moisture on that beard, come on. Okay. I ain't
Mhm.
gonna go too deep, but however, if your lady want to
Don't
lay
get
her
us started.
listen, if your lady want to run her hands through your beard, she don't want to run her hands through no beard that's just like all
Scrubby
crinkled
and just
up and
not, yeah.
just, it's just real hard. She wants that soft
No.
beard. So you
Mhm.
got to make sure you're using lukewarm water.
Mhm.
All right. Massage the beard wash gently into it. Make sure that you're getting underneath and you're actually getting to the skin. All right.
Mhm.
So I don't have a beard, so I can't give you the full tutorial. However, don't just go like this and you're trying to cleanse your beard and you're going just in the hair. You're gonna have to get underneath and make sure you are touching your skin when
Yes.
you are cleansing your beard. All right, because that's just as important as getting the hair.
Yeah.
All right. Pat it
Because you're
dry.
increasing
Go
that
ahead.
blood flow too to your
Yeah.
beard. Yeah.
It absolutely. So, like I said, it helps with blood circulation, just like massaging on the scalp is the same thing with your beard. Pat dry with a towel. Don't rub harshly. All right. So be very careful how you handle your beard because your beard hair is very delicate. And then, of course, you're going to follow it with your oil and your balm while your beard is still a little damp. All right. So while it's still damp, make sure you follow up um with your beard oil and all those things. Okay. And I think that's kind of it for the beard. Do you guys have any questions? Angel is talking to us in the chat. She said turmeric, tea tree, vitamin E, C, and A for ingrowns and dark marks. So if you have ingrowns and dark marks, she said turmeric, tea tree, vitamin E, C, and A are for ingrowns and dark marks. So make sure you guys save this. Come back to this live if you are and if you're experiencing ingrowns and dark marks. Come back to this live, take a screenshot right now so you guys know what you need to go order to make sure that your beard stays clean and healthy. I'll talk a little bit just about some of this, like the struggle beard. You know, some of us that are trying to grow beards, not able to grow a beard. Everybody is not able. That's just the reality of what it is. Everybody is not able to grow a beard. There are things sometimes people have been able to use like the derma rollers to kind of help them grow their beard in as well. But again, everybody's not. And then there's some people again, like she said in the chat, that deal with like a lot of the ingrowns and things like that. So it just makes it difficult for them to grow a beard. Okay. You have anything else, Cara, to say? Did we miss anything?
No, I think we did really good in terms of the process of starting. Oh, and then also like you were saying, the struggle beard, like the patches that they may experience, and that could be also related to what we talked about before, like the stress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they have any type of traumatic situation that may have happened, or they're just under a lot of stress that may affect the growth of that hair. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As far as it coming in properly, and then also making sure that they keep their razors, they keep their clippers, they keep their liners, they keep everything clean and sanitized after each use, because that will also keep that skin healthy and free of bacteria and inflammation.
Absolutely. Angel said, T said, stay in your lane. It's okay. Absolutely. She's asking Angel for a cleanser that has all five of that. Absolutely. So yeah, so that's pretty much all we have. And I think the last piece to this, to our men, that we wanted to talk about, that we kind of like, again, it's Father's Day, and so we know that this is all about you fathers, all about you men. And if you're not technically, you don't have any biological children, but you are a coach, you are a mentor, you are out here in the community, you may be active in your church, in your ministry, whatever the case may be, and you're constantly helping people, fathering people. We want to tell you guys, and just men in general, to just take care of yourself. You know, it's very important.
And we appreciate you.
We do. We appreciate you guys. We want you guys to be well. We want you guys to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Go to the doctor. I don't think I can emphasize that much. Go to the doctor, get your checkups, you know, whatever, you know, get your prostate checked, get your A1C checked, get your levels, make sure you're good. If they're telling you your iron is low, do what you need to do. If your vitamin D is low, those things also affect your hair, how your hair grows.
Iron.
Absolutely. So if you have low iron, if you have low vitamin D, those are important. Go get your hormones checked. Hormones have a lot to do with a lot. One of the biggest things is female and male pattern baldness, right? So male pattern baldness is huge. So I know you guys, you know, it might start with like the little you know, and then it starts to get that George Jefferson. Some of you said, hey, I started to bald early, or I'm starting to see the early signs of balding. A lot of that has to do with genetics. However, a lot of it also has to do with hormones. And so some of you guys that are on a lot of supplements, that are working out a lot, but you're not eating properly, you don't know that that actually affects your hormones. which
Mm-hmm.
can trigger you into having male pattern baldness quicker than what you
Yep,
would. And so
early
that's
on.
why I even see some of these athletes, some of these young boys, because a lot of times what they're eating and drinking or not eating and drinking is playing a huge role in their hair growth and in the ability. And like I said, sometimes it is genetics, but a lot of times it can be hormones. So I tell men, go get your hormones checked. I had a gentleman that was in the hair loss clinic and we were doing treatments, and he didn't tell me in the beginning until I started asking questions that he was on, hormone therapy. And he had came off. When you come
Mm-hmm.
off hormone therapy, your hair will come out because
Mm-hmm.
that hormone therapy was giving your body what it needed to survive. Right. So once you come off of it, your body will adjust. And that's the same thing a lot of times with these supplements and things like that. When your body comes off of them, your body will start to adjust, right? Make adjustments to something that it no longer has that it's used to getting. So take care of yourself. Go to the doctor, go get your checkups, practice self-care. I know this is not something that men are used to hearing is self-care, but just like self-care is important to women, self-care is important to men. Grab yourself a hobby, go to the basketball court,
Mm-hmm.
go play football, go to the gym, go to the spa, go get massages,
Yep.
go do whatever you need to do, whatever that looks like for you, so that you can recharge. You cannot be everything that you need to be to your family. You cannot be the leader of your home. You cannot be the leader of your life if you're not well and you're not taking care of yourself. So
That's
do
right.
the necessary things that you need so that you can be well. Car?
Oh, and also I think we didn't mention there are shampoos that have DHT blockers in it. So
Yes.
that and I think we have some. Is it which one is it? Fluence has that. Which one has that? That has DHT
Um,
blockers. One
I
of
don't
those
know if
shampoos
I
that
have
we
them.
have.
If they do, and I have
Yeah,
some too. I
yeah.
have a whole entire line. So if you need something that has
Okay.
DHT blockers, if you have male pattern baldness, you're at the
Hmm.
beginning stages, and if you're looking for something, I do have shampoos and conditioners as well that have all of those in it. You can always reach out to me directly. Reach out to the Healthy Hair Studio. If you click that the QR code in the top, it takes you to our website, and there is a specific section all about hair loss. So if you're struggling and you need some help, go ahead and click that link, and we'll make sure that you guys get what you need. um let's see, Derek said so all over hygiene is the best way. Then make sure you are properly moisturized and maintained. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So that is the thing. You got to make sure the cleansing is the way to go. There have been a lot of myths that are going around that talk about how you shouldn't shampoo your hair, how you shouldn't wash your beard and things like that, but they are myths. It is extremely important for you to cleanse. The issue is that a lot of times we cleanse, but we don't follow up.
Hmm.
Okay, we don't follow up with that moisturizing. We're not following up with the oil. So that is a very active part to that's a part of your grooming. That's a part of everything that you have to do. You just can't shampoo your hair, don't condition it, and don't put no oil or nothing back into it. All right. You got again, we're gonna recap. You got to use the right stuff. Again, I'm gonna say stop using that 2-in-1. I cannot
Yeah.
stand it. Whatever is for your body is for your body, and
Hmm.
you need something that is formulated specifically meant for your hair. All right. So
and,
if you
and just start that routine. I mean, because how often do men shampoo, wash and then lotion? Like like earlier when Angel mentioned it, it's like you wash and then you have to put your lotion on. So just creating that habit of both of them together. And I mean, I
right,
have teenage boys, and that has always been something I enforce. You cannot take your shower and not go behind yourself and lotion up, oil up, making sure that you're moisturizing your skin. You know what I mean? So it's the same process with your hair. Same process.
same
Same
process.
process.
All right. So it's super important. And so I thank y'all for watching us today. Let me see. I know
Yes.
Angel said, hold on. Angel said we need men to be healthy and whole in order to do all that they need to do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot get from what you do not have. Y'all keep that beard and hair together so that when you kiss your lady, that beard is not messing up her skin. Yes. Please keep it together. So your beard, your bacteria don't be all in my face and all in this lady's face. Just make sure it's clean. I saw that. But yes, y'all. So listen, that's all we have for y'all today. And I'm grateful for y'all joining us. Thank you, man. Y'all really tapped in. I don't
Thank
know,
you. Y'all
lady. Y'all kind of outdid our ladies.
Let's clap them up, clap them up, clap
I'm
them up.
y'all. Tag y'all guy friends, send this video to them and tell them, hey, listen, the ladies were on dropping some knowledge, telling us what we needed to do to make sure that our hair stays well, to make sure that our beards are well, and make sure that inside of us is well.
Health as well.
Exactly. Like we said earlier, we need you. I don't care. I tell people all the time, I don't care what these other ladies out here say. I need
yes,
you.
we need you. We need you. We need you.
Okay, and we need you well. We need your hair to be, right. Yes. That beard to be right. We need everything about you to be right.
And mental health, making sure that you focus on that mental for sure.
Yes. Make sure that mental health is right. So we love y'all so much. We thank y'all for joining. We're here every first Monday at noon. So ladies, if you tapped in and you're like, oh my God, maybe this wasn't for me. When we come back next month, it's going to be, typically we talk about things that's for everybody. So not just for men and for women. Just so happened that this month is Father's Day. Last month was Mother's Day. We wanted to make sure that we did a special segment for each of you guys. But next month we come back, we typically talk about a little bit of everything. We include our babies, our children, and what is the best ways that you can take care of them. And so thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for coming out. And we'll see y'all next month at noon.